welcome to Botany Insider, and in this lecture we would be focusing upon one of the most important topic from the unit 13, methods in biology, and we'll be discussing about the topic of the restriction digestion. So let us understand about that, what is restriction digestion, how it occurs, and what are its various applications. And at the end of this video we'll also be discussing one previous year question for the analysis. Talking about the restriction digestion, so a restriction digestion is a process that is used in the molecular biology to prepare the DNA for analyzing or for other processing. So in simple word, it means that we are using a DNA fragment in order to its analysis. That is, we have to analyze this DNA, and for this analysis we are using this process of restriction digestion, and this restriction digestion occurs by the help of the enzymes that are known as restriction endonucleases, which are also given the name of restriction enzymes or abbreviated as REs. And this process of restriction digestion is also given the term of the DNA fragmentation. So consider, this is the DNA fragment that we are focusing upon, and we need to analyze this DNA. So for this process we would be using the process of restriction digestion, and as a result of the restriction digestion there occurs fragmentation of this DNA, and this fragmentation occurs by the help of the enzyme that is known as either restriction endonucleases, or they are also given the name of restriction enzymes. So first of all we need to understand about that what are restriction enzymes. But before that, let us just understand a bit more about the restriction digestion. So restriction digestion, also called as the restriction endonucleases, is the process in which the DNA is cut at specific sites that is dictated by the surrounding DNA sequences. We will be able to understand about this line in the subsequent slides. A restriction digest is a process that is used in the molecular biology to prepare the analysis of the DNA or for the other processing, as we have just discussed. So restriction enzymes are the nucleases which can cleave the sugar phosphate bonds or the sugar phosphate backbone of the DNA that is found in the bacteria. As they cut within the molecule, they are commonly called as the restriction endonucleases. They specifically cleave the nucleic acid at specific nucleotide sequences called as the restriction sites, and as a result of that they generate a set of smaller fragments. So consider, this was the DNA that we focused upon, and as a result of the restriction digestion we cleaved the DNA at specific sites. So the sites at which the DNA is cleaved or the restriction digestion occurs is known as the restriction sites. These sites are specific to the enzyme that we are using, and the enzyme that we use is given the name of the restriction enzyme or the restriction endonucleases. What these restriction endonucleases actually does is, so as we have discussed or as we already know by our previous knowledge, that when we study the structure of the DNA contains the sugar phosphate bonds. So in order to cleave the DNA at specific sites, the restriction endonuclease needs to cleave down the bonds between the sugar and the phosphate bonds that is present in the DNA backbone. So where the bond is present and where the restriction site is present is actually determined by the help of the specific restriction enzymes that are used, and we have various types of the restriction enzymes being used in this process. We will be able to understand about the types in the subsequent slides. So I hope till now the process of restriction digestion is clear. So let's move forward and understand about the types of the restriction digestion enzymes. So basically we have three types of restriction digestions. First one is type 1, then we have type 2, and the third one is type 3. So in the type 1 enzymes, the type 1 restriction enzyme exhibits both the restriction and the DNA modification activities. You need to learn the differences between the three types of the enzymes. Why? Questions have been framed from the area in part B as well as in part C. So make sure you have a good grip of this topic. The first one is the type 1 enzymes. They require the cofactors such as the magnesium 2 plus ions, S-adenosyl methionine, SAM, and also the ATP for their activity. It is one of the potential statement for part B type question. Then we have the type 1 restriction endonucleases cleaving the DNA at the non-specific sites, and that are about 1000 base pairs or more from the recognition sequences. The third one is that because of these features, the type 1 are less used for the gene manipulation. Why? Because as we can see that type 1 restriction endonucleases are not specific. They are cutting or they are cleaving the DNA at the non-specific site. So it might be very harmful for the experiment that is being designed for this purpose. Hence, type 1 restriction endonucleases are less oftenly used for the gene manipulation. It's one of the drawbacks for type 1 endonucleases. The second one is the type 2 restriction enzyme or type 2 enzyme. So, the type 2 enzymes and their corresponding modification, methyl transferase, act as the separate proteins. Advantages of the type 2 restriction enzymes over the other two types is that first, the restriction and the modification are mediated by separate enzymes. So, it is possible to cleave the DNA even in the absence of the modification. The next advantage is that the restriction activities do not require the cofactors such as the ATP or the S-adenosyl methionine as is required in case of type 1, making them easier to use. They only require Mg2 plus ions as the cofactor. Make sure you remember the difference between the type 1, type 2 and type 3. Type 2 is the most preferred type of the restriction enzymes used because of the various advantages that it provides in contrast to the other two types. The next important point is that these enzymes are site specific as they hydrolyze the specific phosphodiester bond in both the DNA strands, and because it is more site specific, hence it is more commonly used in the gene manipulation experiments. The third one is the type 3 enzymes. So like the class 1 enzymes, type 3 enzyme also possesses both the restriction and the modification activities. They recognize the specific sequences and they cleave the 25 to 27 base pair outside of their recognition sequences in the 3' direction, and also they require Mg2 plus for their activity. What does this mean by the recognition site cleaving at 25 to 27 base pair outside the recognition sequence? So in simple terms it means, so as we have discussed that as a result of the restriction digestion, we have some fragments created and these fragments are created at specific sites. So what the type 1 and type 3 actually does is that it does not cleave at the exact restriction site, rather it cleaves away from the restriction site, and that distance varies from 25 to 27 in case of type 3 and it varies about 1000 base pair in case of type 1. So these are the major features of type 1, type 2 and type 3. Make sure you remember the difference about them. So let's talk about the restriction digestion in particular now. So we have two cases of restriction digestion. The first case is for the linear DNA and the second case is for the circular DNA. Let's understand about each one of them one by one. So consider we have this linear DNA with us. So this linear DNA could either go under the complete digestion digestion or the partial digestion. So when the linear DNA goes to the complete digestion. But before understanding this, we need to understand about that what is complete, what is partial and what is double digestion. So first of all, let us understand about that topic. So we have three types of digestion. The first one is the partial restriction digestion, then we have the complete restriction, and the third one is the double digest. Talking about the partial restriction, so it simply means that it involves performing an incomplete digestion of the plasmid DNA. What does this mean? We will be able to understand about this by the help of the previous year question that we would be discussing. The second one is the complete digestion, in which there occurs complete digestion of the plasmid DNA, and the third one is about the double digest. So double digestion in simple word means it is the one where two restriction enzymes are used to digest the DNA in a single reaction. These three terms might look very difficult, but they have very simple meaning. Partial digestion means when there is incomplete digestion. Complete digestion means when there is complete digestion of the plasmid DNA, and in case of double digestion, we are using two restriction enzymes for the digestion of the DNA in a single reaction. So this is the meaning of complete, partial and the double digestion. We will be able to understand about the terms in a better way now. So the first one was in the linear case we have either the complete or the partial digestion. So complete digestion means that the number of the fragments that would be created after the digestion would be n plus 1. And what is n? So n is the number of the linear DNA that we have created. So consider we are given in a question that there occurs complete digestion of the linear DNA. So if this linear DNA goes under the complete digestion, what would happen is that if we are using the complete digestion and there is one restriction site for the complete digestion to occur, so as a result of the complete digestion, we would be having two fragments created. Initially we had one linear DNA. So if we apply this in this formula, so n plus 1 equal to 2. So as a result of complete digestion, we had two fragments created. Second one is the partial digestion. So the partial digestion now depends upon the question that we are given in the topic. That is, consider we are given this linear DNA, and now because there occurs partial digestion and the partial digestion is occurring because of some restriction enzyme which is not present in this linear DNA. So as a result of the partial digestion, what would happen is that there won't be any fragment created or the linear DNA would remain as it is. So initially also we had the number of linear DNAs as 1, and because of partial digestion we had the fragments created as 1 itself. The second case is for the circular DNA. So in circular DNA also we have the same cases of the complete digestion and the partial digestion. So what happens in complete digestion is, consider we have this circular DNA, there occurs complete digestion. So if the complete digestion is occurring at two restriction sites, so as a result of the complete digestion there would be two fragments created, one smaller fragment and one bigger fragment depending upon the size of the fragment given. We have just taken an example in this case. So in case of circular DNA, if there occurs complete digestion, the number of fragments is equal to the number of the restriction sites, that is equal to n. The second one is the case of partial digestion. So in this, the number of fragments depend upon the question that we are given. So same is the case as we have discussed in the linear. So in this, if there are number of fragments as a result of the partial digestion, consider we have only one restriction site given. So if this restriction site falls under the category of the restriction enzyme that is given, there might occur one fragment, there might occur two fragments. So it all depends upon the question that we are dealing with. So this was all about the restriction digestion for the linear DNA and for the circular DNA. I hope this topic is clear to you. Let's move forward and understand about some more topics. So the next one is the factors that affect the restriction enzyme activity. So there are majorly 4 factors that affect the restriction enzyme activity. The first one is the temperature, then we have the buffer system, third one is the ionic condition, and the fourth one is the methylation of DNA. This also have been asked previously in part C, so you should have a basic knowledge for the same itself. So talking about the temperature, most digestions occur at 37 degrees Celsius. But we also know that there might be some exceptions. So there are few exceptions in case of temperature also. For example, TAC1 is digested at a temperature which is very high, that is 65 degrees Celsius. The second one is the buffer system. So Tris HCl is the commonly used buffer as a buffering agent for the incubation mixtures. Most restriction enzymes are active in the pH range of 7 to 8, which is almost to the neutral to the alkaline conditions. The third one is the ionic condition. So Mg2 plus is the absolute requirement for all the restriction endonucleases. Make sure you remember about this ion because question have been framed exact from this statement itself. The fourth point is about the methylation of DNA. So the methylation of the specific adenine or cytidine residues within the recognition sequences of the restriction enzymes affects the digestion of the DNA. So this is all about the factors affecting. The next is about the isoschizomers and the neoschizomers. So different restriction enzymes isolated from different organisms can have identical recognition sequences. Such enzymes are called as the isoschizomers, and neoschizomers are the isoschizomers enzyme, but it cleaves at a different recognition site. So there is nothing to understand in this, just go through it and you will be able to understand about the difference between the two. Question have been asked from the isoschizomers, so next time maybe you may get a question from the other one. There is one more important term about the star activity. So what is star activity? So it is an alternation of the specificity of the restriction enzyme mediated cleavage of the DNA that can occur under some non-standard condition that differ from the optimal conditions for the enzyme. This alteration leads to the cleavage at the non-specific site. So star activity is nothing but an alteration of the specificity of the restriction enzyme in which the standard condition or the optimum conditions for that particular enzyme are altered, and as a result of this alteration the cleavage occurs at the non-specific sites. Now let's discuss about the applications of the restriction digestion, as we have just discussed about the various applications. So some of them are listed below. Restriction enzymes are powerful tool for the molecular genetics, and they are mainly used to map the DNA molecule. They are used for the analysis of the population polymorphism. They are used to rearrange the DNA molecules. They are used for preparing the molecular probes and also for creating the mutants. So now we are done with the complete topic of the restriction digestion and all its subtopics. Now let's quickly solve this previous year question, and this is one of the most frequently repeated type of question in the CSIR UGC NET. These type of questions might look complex at the first go, but I will try to make this question as simple as possible so that you will be able to solve such questions if asked in the future. So the question says that a researcher attempted to clone a 630 base pair coding sequence. So the coding sequence was of the size of 630 base pairs of a gene downstream to a bacterial promoter which was 500 base pairs in length for an overexpression and the purification of the coded protein. The gene sequence was isolated for a small fragment. The recognition sequence is given to us, and the arrow that indicates the site of restriction, and are cloned at a SMA1 site that is located downstream to a promoter. The gene sequence contained a single site for the EcoR1 located 30 base pairs downstream to the start codon. A schematic representation of the plasmid along with its location of some restriction enzymes of the vector is given below. So this is the schematic representation given to us. This is the vector that we have, and this is the area where the gene is inserted. The researchers screened the obtained colonies by a double digestion using HindIII and EcoR1. Which of the following restriction digestion patterns would represent the restriction profile of the desired clone that could be used for the overexpression? So let us try to decode this question. So first of all, we need to remember about the size of the coding sequence, the size of the promoter. Then we need to understand this sequence, and also we need to keep in mind that there occurs double digestion. And as now we know that what is double digestion. So double digestion is when there occurs digestion by the help of two restriction enzymes, and in this case we have HindIII and EcoR1 being used as the restriction enzymes. So this is the complete decoding of the question. So the question says that we have this vector present. At the first place we have HindIII, then we have the promoter. At SAM1 we have the gene inserted which is of 630 base pairs, and beyond the SAM1 we have the EcoR1 site. What are these sites? So these are actually the restriction sites that we have discussed about. So the question says that the promoter is 500 in base pair length, then we have the total length of the gene being 630 base pairs. The restriction or the insertion occurs at the site of the SAM1. Talking about the gene that have been inserted, so the gene is of 630 base pairs, and in that 630 base pair, in that gene sequence, the gene sequence contains a single site for the EcoR1 which is located 30 base pair downstream the start codon. What does this mean? So it means that the site from where the gene starts, that is the start codon of that particular gene being inserted, and beyond the start codon downstream to it. So there are two streams to a gene. One is the downstream and the other one is the upstream. So when it is talking about the downstream, we need to go towards the right of the start codon, and if it would have said about the upstream, we would go towards the left of the start codon. And as in this question it says about the downstream area, so we would be going towards the right of the start site. So from the start site or from the start codon, there occurs a EcoR1 restriction site which is 30 base pair at the downstream of the start codon. So beyond the start codon at 30 base pairs, we have marked the EcoR1. This is the complete information that is given in this lengthy question. So now let's try to solve the question. It says that there occurs double digestion, and the double digestion occurs at the HindIII and the EcoR1. So now let us insert this gene at the SAM1 site and make a linear structure out of it. So the final vector after the insert looks like this. So initially we have the HindIII site similar to the one present in the vector. Then we have the promoter which is of 500 base pair length. After the promoter, there occurs the insertion of the gene at the SAM1 site, and in the gene beyond the start site we have a EcoR1 site at the 30 base pair size. At the end of that we have the EcoR1 site which is actually of the same the vector which we are focusing upon. So the gene is of 630 base pairs and we have our promoter of the 500 base pairs. Now the double digestion digestion occurs, and this double digestion would be occurring at first the HIN3, second the ECO R1. So we have HIN3, so one digestion would be occurring at this place. We have 2 ECO R1, so there would be 2 digestions occurring at these places. So as a result of these digestion, what happens is we will have 2 fragments. The first fragment will be between the HIN3, because first digestion occurs in this place and the next digestion occurs between this place. So this is the first fragment that we would be having, which is of about 530 base pairs. Why? Because the promoter was of 500 base pairs. The 30 base pair fragment would also be added down to this. Why? Because the ECO R1 site is 30 base pair downstream to the start codon. So we will have one fragment for 530 base pairs, and the second fragment would be of about 600 base pairs. Why? Because if we subtract these 30 base pairs from the gene, we would be having the second fragment of 600 base pairs. So we would be having one fragment of 530 and the second fragment of 600. So this is how the final product would look like. This is the first fragment and the second fragment, and in addition to this we would also be having some vector backbone. Why? There must be some flanking area left of the vector that we have created. So these are the flanks of the vector backbone. So this is the complete question. I hope this question is clear to you. So if we analyze all the 4 options, we will get the final answer as that one fragment would be of 530 base pairs, the second fragment would be of about 600 base pairs, and the third one we would be having the vector backbone. This symbol in the initial of these digits represents the approximate value, because in a gene we cannot specifically say that it would be having exact 530 base pairs. It might have 531. This is the reason why we use this symbol. So this is the complete question that we have discussed and the solution of it. I have tried to simplify this question in the best possible way. So I hope this question is clear to you, and if still you have some doubt for this question, you can comment down and ask about the same. And with this, we're done with the complete topic of restriction digestion and its subtopics in detail. I hope the video and the previous question that we discussed is clear to you. So if you like this video, please do like, share it with your friends, and also subscribe to my channel. And please do let me know in the comment section what you feel about these videos. It will help me, or it would motivate me more to make such videos in future as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.